thing. It wasn't mumbled. The picture was good the whole time.
Oh,
Everything looked really clean.
great, thank you.
Excellent.
Kind of late, said you'd just given this great speech, but you weren't on yet, and then you started again. I had it from there, but it was really good. In fact, I would say the best quality I've seen it. I like it better than trying to do it at the same time because I get that same audio thing.
Right.
But you can't really say that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you are. Hi.
Hi.
That's David on the big TV.
Yes,
Yeah.
because, all right, now that we got this going, I got this going on.
The TV and get better sound and better quality picture.
Yes,
Right.
well, Liam,
Better quality picture than what we got right here.
Liam,
So-
stop now. Stop. I just really want to get our meditations on this video. We're going to talk about our meditations, and then we'll talk.
Yeah.
And then we'll chat about tech.
So, go for it, David.
Okay, I'll attempt to relate what I experienced in my meditation. It was dark.
Yeah.
It was dark, but you know, I had a sense of, it was dark, but there was a sense of comfort. I can't begin to kind of, it really related to what I've been kind of going through some stuff lately and today about further refinement of further kind of spiritual work about I've really been going through this thing for myself about what's the next step. What's next? And I think part of that is what the hell is that?
Yeah.
I pushed the wrong button, never mind.
About what's the next step in my growth and my spiritual development. And I think it's partly because of, what we're all collectively experiencing with this pandemic and all the changes going on. And I didn't think I was stressed about that. I thought I was fortunate to be in a position where I had a couple pensions after turning 65, and it wasn't going to be that rocky a road. But nonetheless, I think I am having to recognize that it's stressful, that just the unknown. And that's because that's what this is so much about, this crossing the abyss and this going to the great mother and the womb of the great mother and the life and death and the whole darn thing, right? And it's very much about faith, that reading the study here about Binah and Saturn being about the dispensing of faith, and that I have to, could use some more faith, I guess, could use some more sense of protection, of safety, of all those things that you sort of pray for to the great mother. And there was at one point I was really kind of this platform of what's next, and I've been getting some ideas about a new tarot deck even before. I haven't completed the old one, and I'm getting some ideas about where to go next with kind of the work in the world, and I did get a sense that I'm still going through a clarity period of a shucking period, because as both of you guys know, my job was really stressful. And it involves a lot of charity and helping people and trying to be positive and really helping a lot of souls that were lost. We're lost souls. We're grimy. I was going to say grimy. That was there too,
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm getting a sense of still having to kind of a cleansing period, of a letting go period. And at one point I was at a table, it was all pretty dark. There was like one candle and there was like a crystal ball, and I was looking at the crystal ball. It was like the black crystal ball we have on the altar. And there was a sense of, I got like there was this female, a woman there, and she was like doing a reading for me, and she had this card that I could barely discern because it was dark, but it was just lit by one candle, and it was, but I could tell on the card was like this phoenix image, and I think that phoenix has a lot to do with this sphere, that there's the fire within, what is hidden, the rebirth. And so there was this, I don't know, I guess that's the whole thing with this sphere is it's not really to be explained so much, because it's beyond that. If you're explaining it, you're missing something, because it's not about the words. But I did get certainly a strong sense of an experience of comfort and of protection and of having faith in that, and kind of a sense of knowing that it's going to be okay. There's been a few, I was reflecting, there's been a few times in my life where I've had like a vision or a dream image or that actually happened. One was super distinct and unique, but I had a dream about sitting with this person I knew, Naomi, in this shed that was made of plywood, and putting on skates, and like we were playing hockey. And this was the furthest thing. I mean, I barely skate. I have wanky ankles. I don't know how to, never learned properly to skate backwards. My mom could do spins and stuff, and tried vainly without success to teach me how to skate backwards, but I knew some basics. But it turned out, this is years and years ago, like in my 20s, but gosh, it actually happened after the dream. I was sitting in a shed where in Calgary, of course, they flood parks and put up boards so neighborhood kids can play hockey in the frozen winter. And there was a shed at this place by our house, and this person was visiting us with her husband, and we were both sitting there putting on skates. It actually happened. I had another one that actually happened, seeing a little girl in this T-shirt that my son had, and it turned out to be, it actually happened. It was my daughter wearing the hand-me-down little hockey jersey when she was like 1.5 feet tall, and it actually happened. And I've had a couple other these things that I think I've seen that I've recognized as this type of thing, but they haven't yet happened. And I got this idea to have faith that that's something that I do that happens in my soul, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to receive it and recognize it. And that was another part of this message, that there's all this good stuff is pouring into us, that into our lives, into manifestation. The good stuff is pouring in. It's a matter of being in a place of receiving in order to manifest it. You have to attune to that place of receiving to manifest it. Because, of course, it's this, these spiritual energies are making we decided on these lives as a spiritual being that was not stuck in time, and now we're in it. And it's just kind of to keep the faith that that spiritual being is still there and knew what it was doing.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway, I guess that's, yeah. So I got this stuff about, if you're going to pray, just pray to open your heart more. If you're going to pray for protection and to attunement, and that your heart will be capable of more love and more creativity, and yeah.
Cool. Cool. Just on that prayer thing, prayer has been described as speaking to God, and meditation is described as listening. So I thought that was, yeah.
Yes.
When you're praying to God. When you're meditating, you're listening to the gods and receiving the messages.
And of course, you don't want to pray.
Reaching out over the abyss.
You don't want to ask to not be in a bad situation, because that calls in the bad situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to, it's a matter of, if you're going to ask for spiritual help, you ask to be attuned and more in touch with spirit. You can't, that's okay. That works.
Yeah.
But it didn't come up in my meditation today, but it came up previously, and I've been purveying the message to telling, because people are stressed, and but I just want to remind people that worrying is like praying for what you don't want.
Yeah,
worrying is praying for what you don't want. You're rumming this stuff all through your head of worry, and then you want to reach out and pray, oh God, JC, whatever you're into, help me. Well, that's not the context you want to be reaching to spirit with. Your worries.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's like praying for what you don't want. So, anyway, but I'd rather hear your meditation.
Okay, I'll go. I go next then. Hello, whoever's out there. Hello. My meditation, it was dark. It was dark there.
It was dark there.
Really dark there. And I didn't, the tree that we've been going to was there, but it was more, I went to a place where I used to go when I first started meditating. I would go, and it's as though it's terraced. It's a temple, but it's as though it's made from black onyx. And it overlooks a valley. The land falls away from it, and further away is the sea, the great sea. And this full moon was shining down upon the sea and reflecting and casting shadows, and I could see the tree highlighted like a silver outline of the branches around the tree. But I was on the terrace, and I was there with the goddess, and it was just a really peaceful, I felt so at peace and so protected and so warm. Like it is the womb. It's the beginning of rebirth. It's a place of protection, and there's no fear there. I could feel there was like just complete all fear, because I've had a lot of anxiety. There's a lot going on right now. And there was just no fear there at all. And just this warm, loving presence. All feelings were there. It was dark, but it wasn't, there was no sadness. It was more acceptance and understanding of the fears that we're in now, and that there's no need to be fearful of it. And I just kept getting this, like towards the end of the meditation, where I was so peaceful there, and I could just feel this love radiating throughout all of the area. And I kept getting this message that there's form, but it's being there is form and no fear and no anxiety, and there's form, but there's no substance to fears and anxiety. And so those need to just fall away. And so, yeah, I just kept hearing form without substance, form without substance. And then you brought me back.
Yeah.
There was a lot more. It was,
I know.
It's beyond the abyss. So it's indescribable when you come back. There are no words to describe what is there, I guess, is all I can really say about it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And how's Liam? We have Liam here. We can show Liam
Exactly.
some gang. Hello.
Hello.
Look, Liam, there you are. What do you have to say for yourself, Liam?
Did you have a meditation?
Well, at first it was like just void.
Void?
And I started to, again, the corner of my mind started worrying about the stuff that was happening, with the coronavirus and all that. But then it sort of changed. Instead of it being, me thinking, it was like these, in the void, these little, like the little screens you see in Facebook when you scroll down and if you hold, it starts going.
Yeah.
It was like they were floating by me, all these different things that's happening in my mind, all chaotic. And then sort of after a time, they sort of coalesced into kind of like a ribbon of flat things. I couldn't make them out, but the things that have been going on inside me that I have not expressed, really, and so I'm a writer. So today, I'm going to start writing this instead of working on one of my novels. I got to get this particular little thing out of my head, so I'm going to start on that.
Right
and
on.
I have a title because one of the images was I went to town yesterday, and for the first time since I can remember this winter, you could see the Olympic Mountains across the strait.
Nice.
And so the title that came to me for this, whatever I write, is On a Clear Day You Can See America.
Oh, I like that. Wow, I just got chills.
Even having, like you've lived there, you have a real connection. And, one of the thoughts is this must be what the Jews felt like over here, feeling powerless, watching what was happening over in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's part of it. I'm powerless. I can't go there. I can't be with my daughters. I can't be with my friends. I'm powerless to do anything. And watching this madman kill tens or hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
It's just, but I understand now that. So thoughts like that, little snippets of things in my head are kind of now
coalescing, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I can, while I still have it, I can get it all out. But that felt like it came together for me.
That's the understanding. That's the understanding
of this.
Yeah,
sphere.
That's the energy of the sphere is understanding. And I think understanding is freeing. And I love that title. I got chills, Liam. That's really good.
Hey, Liam.
Yeah.
Do you remember I ran into it today in a funny way, but it's been coming up. The alchemist's the alchemist phrase. It's Latin, and it's what is it? Solve et coagula. Solve et coagula. And what it's Latin for dissolve and coagulate. Sort of that in order to create a transformation that the alchemist seeks, that there's a dissolving process, and then a reforming process.
It's the shamanic journey.
The shamanic journey. And if you think
the
death and rebirth, solve et coagula, it's like, people say, well, the caterpillar turns into a butterfly, right?
Yeah.
But you sort of forget that in that chrysalis, the caterpillar turns basically into freaking soup.
Yeah.
Before it reforms.
Yeah.
And so that's a process, and to some extent, we're seeing that happen to our lives.
I got that was a part of my meditation. I got that very distinct, like this is all for a reason. This is transformational, what we're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like as a whole, as a society, as an earth.
Mm-hmm.
That
it's a stage in the human evolution and the evolution of the planet, and us as the part of the sentient part of the earth. We're part of the earth, and the earth is evolving.
Yeah.
And and I think it's a matter of just faith. Again, back to the Binah and there's a matter of faith to know that that's a positive process that is not going to be hijacked by anybody.
No.
Or anything.
Yeah.
It's not going to be hijacked. It's not going to be twisted around to be a negative. No, it's a matter of evolution and growth.
Yeah.
And development, spiritual development.
Yeah.
Well, oddly enough, ever since Trump got elected, I have felt hopeless. Right? Hopeless. It's too late now. The environment's too far gone. What he's done in his first term, it's going to be irreversible. If all of our work for our whole lives in the environment, it's all for nothing. It's all gone. There's no hope anymore. But now there is hope. Oddly enough, even though this is a horrible, horrible thing that's happening, the pattern that is emerging is those government leaders who were proactive and generally speaking liberal and believe in social medicine reacted quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, Trump and Boris Johnson in England, the head of Brazil and all that, and in Iran, they just say, oh, it's not real, you don't have to worry. Now they've got it really bad. And it's going to get really, really bad in the Bible Belt, too.
Yeah.
Well, they're only a couple of weeks behind New York, and they're, until just like the last day or so, there were 11 states that had no social distancing rules.
Yeah.
And these ministers are having these mega churches with hundreds of people and busing them there, it's just...
It's a matter of weeks. We're going to see.
And it's weird that this disease targets older white men. White men, but older men. Men 2 to 1 in China over women. And the older we get, the more susceptible we are. So many of Trump's base, his core group, are going to be especially susceptible to this, and they're not taking the precautions they need to. I don't hope for this, but it looks like many of these people will die, and many others will be really, really, really sick. And it's going to change everything.
Yeah.
They talk about, you can see the sky in LA for the first time.
Yeah.
The dolphins have returned to the canals of Venice, that kind of thing.
Well, one other thing I've read too is there's like salmon are returning to like streams in North France, Brittany, for the first time in like decades.
Yeah.
And just from a few weeks of less human activity.
And it's going to have to stay this way for a way longer.
Yeah.
What I'm afraid is going to happen, and this happened in St. Louis, where I used to live during the 1918 pandemic. they had social distancing, though they didn't call it that. They closed the schools, they closed non-essential businesses. And when the disease peaked, right, and then it came down, and then they opened everything up again, and there was a second wave.
And then it happened again.
More people caught it, more diseases, because it got stronger. And because they went back to life as normal too quickly, and Trump will do that if he's still in power, you know.
Yeah.
State needs to take him out. He's really crazy. I mean,
a lot of craziness around here today.
well,
Yeah.
no, it's not. I'm not being facetious.
Oh, I know. You don't have to tell me.
When somebody says, "What about when you said it was a hoax?" He says, "I never said it was a hoax." When he says those words, he believes it in the moment.
Yes.
He believes it because he cannot conceive of being wrong.
Yeah.
He cannot. The thought cannot enter his brain because he's a narcissistic megalomaniac.
Yeah.
And everybody around him's terrified of him, so nobody will tell him the truth because he doesn't want to hear the truth.
Yeah. Yes, the emperor has no clothes.
So on that note, but I prefer to end on the note here before I turn off this machine about the pollution clearing and and the fishies returning to Venice and North France and let's keep the faith because there's positives. Thank you, Binah.